The video for April 11th, 2017 is entitled Unity Minister Praises Iconoclasts. I was at the Palm Sunday service yesterday at Unity of Melbourne, and the message by Reverend Beth Head was like a breath of fresh air to me. Her topic was love, and she cited Jesus, Gandhi, and Martin Luther King as examples of love in action. Of course, I did not miss the fact that these were iconoclasts like me. She went on to mention passages about the importance of love from the texts of the Bible and other writings from the religions of the world. Yes, I would have gone even further than she did, bringing to mind the reality that love will always stand up lovingly to fraud and injustice, which neither Unity nor other spiritual groups are willing to do. It often seems to me that their overriding dictum in this age of awakening is to not rock the boat. Well, iconoclasts are boat rockers, like it or not. That is love in action. We tell the truth to the best of our ability, even when it offends some people and infuriates others. Indeed, it was a breath of fresh air for me to listen to Reverend Beth extol the virtue of standing up to injustice, being the iconoclast that I believe all spiritual people are called to be, because the world isn't going to change if we stand back and keep allowing the deceivers and the usurpers to have unlimited reign and never be challenged for their ungodly and unloving actions. If the elite continue to do what they've always done, we'll continue to get what we've always gotten. It takes people that are iconoclastic in nature, like Gandhi and Jesus and Martin Luther King, and even Martin Luther and others throughout the ages that have stood up to the establishment in their day and age and said, you're going in the wrong direction, and tried to warn people and awaken people to the truth of what our leadership was doing to us and where they were trying to take us. And that is to a society that is not loving, that is not truthful, that is not in integrity to the principles that the creators of the various religions, and I don't believe Jesus actually ever created a religion at all. I don't think that was his purpose, but that's my take on it. And perhaps some of the others weren't either. They were simply doing the best they could in their age, in their location, and in their time when they were manifest here on this planet. In any case, the iconoclasts, were often killed, silenced, or abused in some way by the system that insists in trying to maintain its dominance. We live now in an age of awakening where people are, despite the fact of the silence of our churches and synagogues and mosques and the other religious establishments in our communities, are willingly silent and want to focus not on the problem, but they think that not focusing on the problem is loving. It's not. If a child is in danger, and the parent who sees the danger that the child still doesn't recognize as danger and tries to help the child, I mean, it would be loving for them not to do their best to help the child. And again, I think of Anastasia, how she raised her son and how her grandfather and great-grandfather raised her. And it was a very different paradigm that they were introducing in each of those cases. But in our world, we have to stand up to the injustice. We have to be iconoclasts. We have to be willing to expose the faults in order for the truth to set us free. It doesn't work any other way in three-dimensional reality. And I don't care if you want to say we're moving to five-dimensional reality. We can't move to any other reality till we accept the reality that we have as our reality and stop calling it illusion, stop making excuses, stop trying to hide behind a mask of acceptability and respectability, when in fact we are, because we claim to see truth, if we don't share the truth that we see, we fail miserably in our mission to bring the truth into a dominant position. And folks, you've got to look at the world. You've got to pay attention to the world that we live in. Who is in the dominant position? It has been the archonically inspired, demonically driven, elite establishment, starting with the Rothschilds and, of course, the Rockefellers, and that which we call the cabal, or whatever name you want to put on this Illuminati group that shines a fake light. I mean, it is not the light that liberates. It is a false light. It is darkness masquerading as light, but it's not light. Light abides in truth, and it operates in love, as Jesus did, as Gandhi did, as Martin Luther King and many others throughout the ages have done. And what do many of these have in common? They were killed. They were assassinated by the establishment. The establishment is not in favor of iconoclasts. The establishment hates iconoclasts. It hates people like me because that uncovers their sins. It exposes their evil intent and their deeds that are malevolent through and through and through. We don't need war on a planet if we're going to have peace on earth. It's a contradiction. We sing at Christmas time, we sing about peace on earth, but there hasn't been peace on earth in any of our lifetimes. I mean, there might be moments that we aren't aware of what's going on somewhere else in the world, but there's no peace on earth when you look at the big picture. The earth is a war planet because it's driven by warlike beings, whatever name you want to apply to them. They're warlike beings that thrive off of war. And until we allow this to be exposed and truth to be known, we are going to continue to get what we've always gotten. We're going to continue to have manifest in our lives and in our world the most ungodly things, the most horrific things, as we have experienced. Folks, don't you want something better? I do. And Reverend Beth was right on in her emphasis at the beginning of her message especially. She did seem toward the end to water it down some. And it doesn't need to be watered down. We need to water that which brings the iconoclastic nature to the forefront, not submerges it beneath the apparent still waters when that are deep, the deep still waters. We need to pay attention to where the waves are, to where the friction and the wind is hitting the water. Anyway, folks, I really appreciated Reverend Beth's message, and I wish all Unity and all churches and all religious institutions would get this message, that it's up to us to take a stand in a world that has gone absolutely insane with its warlike madness. Thank you for listening, and namaste.